The handcuffs clicked around the quiet man's wrists while the officer leaned close and promised, "You'll see prison before sunrise." What had this black man done to deserve that threat? Why did every witness suddenly look away? And why did he keep asking for one phone call instead of begging for mercy? In his coat pocket was a silver pen, a folded program for a memorial he could not miss, and a name the station would soon wish it had read twice. Across town, an empty chair waited beside his adult daughter, and a courtroom seal waited behind a locked office door. By dawn, the badge shouting the loudest would be the one facing a locked door. The metal bit into Nathaniel Brooks's wrists as the station clock over the service entrance clicked to 7:12 p.m. Officer Travis Harlan tightened one cuff. "You hear that? That's your night ending." Nathaniel stood square in his gray coat, collar wet from mist. The air smelled of rain, oil, and sour coffee. Beyond the gate, employees watched through glass. "I am asking you to verify my identification," Nathaniel said. "You asked enough." "Then allow me one phone call." Harlan leaned close. His badge caught the white security light. "You'll see prison before sunrise if you keep telling me what the law says." A woman by the steps lowered her eyes. A man in a courthouse lanyard stepped forward, then stopped when Sergeant Dale Keene came out. "What's the charge?" Keene asked. "Loitering, obstruction, possible false ID," Harlan said. "Found him behind the garage." Nathaniel turned to him. "My daughter is waiting for me at a memorial ceremony. I have not resisted. My identification is in your officer's hand." Keene glanced at the card in Harlan's pocket, not at the name. His face looked ready to trust the first story. Inside. Nathaniel's fingers moved once, forgetting the cuffs would stop him. In his left pocket, the folded program pressed against his ribs. Rain had softened the paper. On the front was Evelyn's name, and the time he had promised to stand beside the empty chair. "My family needs to know where I am," he said. Harlan laughed once. "Should have thought about family before playing games here." The service door buzzed open. Stale air washed over them, carrying floor cleaner and paper. Nathaniel stepped over the threshold without being pulled. Harlan yanked the chain anyway. "Move!" Nathaniel looked back. Through the glass, a young clerk held his phone at his side, screen dark, thumb trembling. The woman by the steps mouthed something he could not hear. Keene noticed. "You want them to save you?" "No," Nathaniel said. "I want them to remember." Inside, fluorescent light flattened every face. At the booking counter, a dispatcher looked up. "Name?" Harlan answered first. "Unknown for now." Nathaniel lifted his cuffed hands. "Nathaniel Brooks." The dispatcher's pen hovered. Harlan snapped. "Don't write that yet." Keene set down his coffee. "Empty your pockets." "With these cuffs? I cannot." Harlan pulled out a handkerchief, a key ring, the folded program, and a silver pen. The program slipped near the counter's edge. Nathaniel's eyes followed it. Harlan noticed. "What's this? Your excuse?" "It is for my wife," Nathaniel said. The room quieted in the way rooms do when people choose not to ask the next question. Keene picked up the program, saw the word memorial, then placed it face down. "Cell 1 until we sort it out," he said. Nathaniel looked toward the phone behind the counter. "One call, Sergeant." "After processing." "My daughter will think I chose not to come." Harlan's face sharpened. "Maybe she knows you better than we do." No one moved. Rain tapped the awning. Nathaniel lowered his hands and let the chain rest against his coat. The silver pen remained on the counter, pointing toward the door. Then his phone lit up inside the property tray and began to vibrate. Maya Brooks. At 4:38 p.m., 3 hours before the phone lit up in the property tray, Nathaniel Brooks stood in the community hall with his thumb caught on the top button of his shirt. "You missed it again," Maya said. He looked down. The button had slipped through the wrong hole under his gray coat. "Your mother used to catch that. She said you could find a flaw in a court order faster than a clean tie." Nathaniel gave a breath that almost became a laugh. The hall smelled of lemon polish, coffee, and spring rain. Folding chairs faced a low stage. In the first row, one chair stood empty, marked with a white ribbon. Maya crossed to it and straightened the bow. She was 32, in a navy dress, one curl loose near her cheek. "I put it here because everyone will look for her." They would have found her anywhere. That sounds like a judge answer. It is a husband answer. Her fingers stayed on the ribbon. "You don't have to speak long tonight." "I know." "You say that, then you rewrite the room in 12 minutes. He adjusted the programs on the table. Evelyn Brooks smiled from the front page in pearl earrings Nathaniel kept beside his bed. Maya watched his hand pause over the name. "Dad, I'm fine." "You use that sentence like a locked door." He picked up the silver pen beside the programs. Its barrel was scratched near the clip from years in Evelyn's purse. She signed half the city's intake forms with this. And grocery lists. And birthday cards to people who came once for advice. The microphone squealed as a volunteer tested it. Nathaniel blinked but did not turn. Outside, tires hissed through puddles. Maya moved closer. "The mayor's office asked if you wanted a police escort from the garage." "No." "Dad." "No escort. No fuss." He slid the pen into his inside pocket. "Tonight is not about my title. People know who you are." "Some do. Most will know who she was." Maya looked toward the empty chair. The white ribbon trembled in a draft. "I keep thinking she'll complain that the coffee is cheap." She would. And then drink 2 cups. She would say bitterness keeps people honest. Maya laughed, but it broke in the middle. Nathaniel reached for her shoulder, then stopped. She stepped into him and rested her forehead against his coat. "I don't want to do this without her," she said. Nathaniel placed one hand lightly on the back of her head. "We are not doing it without her." A volunteer called from the lobby. "Judge Brooks, the printer jammed on the last 20 programs." Nathaniel turned. "I'll pick them up. The copy room still owes me a favor." Maya pulled away. "You're leaving now?" "For 20 minutes. It's raining." "I have driven in rain before." "You also forgot lunch." "I remember lunch as a concept." She folded her arms, trying not to smile. "Call me when you park." "I will." "No, really call me. Not a judge nod. A call." He took one program and folded it once, so Evelyn's name faced inward. Then he placed it in his left coat pocket. "I promise." At the door, he looked back. The ribbon had twisted loose again. Maya retied it without a word. Nathaniel stepped into the wet evening, the silver pen against his chest and his daughter's worry following him to the car. The sedan coughed twice on Mercer Street and died beneath yellow sign for the garage. Nathaniel steered to the curb. Rain needled the windshield. The wipers froze halfway, leaving the lights split into pale streaks. He turned the key again. Nothing. His phone sat in the cup holder with one thin bar of service. Maya's name filled the screen from a missed call 6 minutes earlier. He tapped her back, heard one ring, then the line collapsed. "No," he whispered. The second try failed before it breathed. Across the street, the copy room was dark. Nathaniel checked the folded program in his pocket, then looked toward the garage ramp. Beyond the security light, a side entrance carried a small plaque. Municipal court staff only. He stepped out and lifted his collar. "Sir?" An older guard called from the awning. "Garage is closed." "I understand," Nathaniel said. "My car stalled. I need a working phone." "You with the court?" "Yes." "You got a badge?" Nathaniel reached inside his coat. A patrol car rolled in too fast and stopped with its tires hissing. Blue light bounced against the windows. Officer Travis Harlan stepped out first, one hand raised. "Keep your hand where I can see it." Nathaniel froze with two fingers inside his coat. "I'm reaching for identification." "I didn't ask what you were doing." The second officer, Lena Rusk, came from the passenger side, rain darkening her cap. "Dispatch got a call about someone trying doors back here," Harlan said. "I tried no doors," Nathaniel replied. "I spoke to the guard." The guard swallowed. "He was asking about a phone." Harlan cut him a look. "I'll ask you when I need you." Nathaniel lowered his hand. "My name is Nathaniel Brooks. I am expected at an event. My vehicle failed, and my phone has almost no signal." "Convenient." "It is inconvenient." Rusk glanced at the sedan. "Sir, can we see the ID?" "That is what I was attempting to show." Harlan stepped closer. His boots splashed in a puddle. "Don't get clever with me." Nathaniel's phone buzzed in the car. Through the speckled window, Maya's name flashed, then vanished. He turned his head before he could stop himself. Harlan noticed. "Something more important than answering questions?" "My daughter," Nathaniel said. "She is waiting for me." "Then answer faster." "I have answered." "No, you've talked." Rusk shifted. "Harlan, let him take out the ID." "In a second." Harlan pointed at the sedan. "That your car?" "Yes." "Registration?" "In the glove compartment." "Keys?" Nathaniel removed them with two fingers. Harlan snatched them. "Why were you heading to that door?" "Because I know where the phone is." "You know where the phone is," Harlan repeated, making it sound like a confession. The guard's radio crackled. Somewhere inside, a pipe knocked against metal. Rain slid down Nathaniel's neck, cold enough to tighten his shoulders. He kept his voice even. "Officer Rusk asked for my identification. May I show it now?" Harlan held out his palm. Nathaniel eased the leather case from his inside pocket. Before Harlan opened it, another call lit the phone on the passenger seat. Maya Brooks. This time, it kept ringing. Nathaniel looked at the screen, then at Harlan's hand around the ID case. Harlan opened the leather case under the garage light, as if the rain might expose a lie. The card showed Nathaniel's photo, his full name, and a seal behind clear plastic. Rusk leaned close enough to read the first line. Harlan snapped it shut. "Nice prop." Nathaniel kept both hands open. "There is a verification number on the back." "I know what I'm looking at." "Then you know it can be confirmed." "I know you're behind a closed municipal garage with a fancy card and a story that keeps moving." Mr. Howard Finch shifted under the awning, keys rattling. "Officer, he didn't force anything. He asked me about a phone." Harlan turned. "You want to write my report for me, Howard?" Nathaniel looked toward the staff entrance. "My vehicle failed. My daughter is waiting across town." "At this garage?" "No." "So you admit you don't belong here?" "I belong at the memorial. I came here for help." Harlan gave a short laugh. "People always belong somewhere once police show up." Rusk wiped water from her brow. "Travis, we can call it in." "And let him coach us?" Harlan opened the case again. "You ever see one of these, Howard?" Finch stared at the seal. "Not up close." "Exactly." Nathaniel's phone rang inside the sedan. Through the wet window, Maya's name glowed, faded, then glowed again. "May I answer that on speaker?" Nathaniel asked. No. My daughter will think something happened. Something did happen, Harlan said. You got caught. Rusk glanced at him. Caught doing what? Harlan ignored her. The phone stopped. Officer, please return my identification or verify it. You don't give orders here. That was a request. It sounded like a correction. The awning light flickered. Harlan shifted the case. The slick leather slipped, struck the asphalt face down, and slid into a shallow puddle. No one moved. Finch looked at the card. Rusk looked at Harlan. Nathaniel bent slightly, then stopped. Harlan's voice sharpened. Don't. My identification is on the ground. I said don't. Then pick it up, please. Harlan planted one boot near the case. Dirty water touched the edge. I am asking that official documents be handled properly. Rusk bent. I'll get it. Leave it, Harlan said. Her hand froze above the puddle, then returned to her side. Behind the glass door, a woman in a cafe apron held a tray. A young courthouse clerk hovered behind her. Both stared at the card as if the name might rise through the rain. Nathaniel lowered his voice. There are cameras on this entrance. Harlan stepped closer. Nathaniel smelled coffee and mint gum. Are you threatening me? No, I am reminding you this can be reviewed. Good. Harlan tapped Nathaniel's chest with the empty case. You're detained until I decide what you are. Rusk said, Travis. Cuffs. Nathaniel looked once through the sedan window. The phone had gone dark. Evelyn's folded program pressed against his ribs. Officer Rusk, please note that I asked for verification before any detention. Rusk did not answer. Her fingers closed around the cuffs. Harlan raised his voice for the witnesses. And note, he's refusing simple instructions. The federal ID remained face down in the puddle while everyone pretended not to read the name. Grace Molina pushed the cafe door with her hip and stopped before the tray touched the table. Outside, Officer Harlan stood so close to the man in the gray coat that their shadows joined on the wet pavement. The ID case lay face down in the puddle. Grace smelled espresso and rain through the cracked door. Grace, the clerk whispered, should we call someone? Evan Price wore a crooked courthouse badge. His hand hovered near his phone. Police are already here, she said, but the words tasted wrong. Harlan's voice carried through the glass. Hands behind your back. Nathaniel did not raise his voice. Before you do that, I am asking you to contact the office listed on my identification. You don't get to design my stop. I am asking for verification. Standard? Harlan turned toward the watchers. You hear that? He's teaching me standards. Grace set the tray down. 2 cups rattled. Officer Rusk held the cuffs but did not step in. Travis, let's slow down. We slowed down when he lied. I have not lied, Nathaniel said. My car stalled. I asked for a phone. I showed identification. Harlan lifted one finger. You showed something. Behind Grace, someone locked the register. Evan moved closer to the glass, breath fogging a small oval. His face, Evan murmured. What? He's not acting like somebody trying to run. Harlan raised his voice. This man was found behind restricted property with questionable documents. Nathaniel looked past him. There is a public phone inside the courthouse lobby. The guard can confirm I asked for help. Howard Finch stood under the awning, cap wet, keys clutched in both hands. Harlan pointed at him. Howard confirmed you were where you shouldn't be. Finch's mouth opened. Grace lifted her palm to the glass. The cold pressed into her skin. Say it, she whispered. Finch looked at the patrol car, then at Harlan. He asked me about a phone. That's not the question, Harlan snapped. Did you see him at the staff entrance? Finch's keys shook. Yes. There we go. Nathaniel drew in one slow breath. Officer, that is incomplete. Harlan stepped closer. No, what's incomplete is your night. Evan flinched. His thumb touched his screen, then froze over the camera icon. Grace turned to him. Record. I can't. You can. My supervisor sees me. Then remember every word. Outside, Nathaniel said, If you arrest me without verifying my identification, your report will need to explain why. Harlan smiled. You keep threatening paperwork. No, I keep asking you to read it. Rusk bent, picked the case from the puddle, and wiped it on her sleeve. Her mouth tightened. Harlan, she said, we should run this. He snatched it from her. I said I'll handle it. Grace's palm slid down the glass, leaving a damp print. Evan's fingers touched the door, then pulled back. Harlan pocketed the ID. You're coming with us. My daughter needs one call, Nathaniel said. You can tell your daughter from a cell. Steam hissed from the espresso machine behind Grace. Evan finally raised his phone, but he kept it low against his thigh. Harlan turned Nathaniel toward the patrol car. Through the glass, Nathaniel's eyes found the handprints fading on the door. Evan kept the phone pressed against his thigh until the screen warmed his palm. The camera opened. A red dot blinked above Nathaniel's shoulder. He stood half behind Grace's cafe door, where burned milk mixed with rain through glass. Don't point it at him, Grace whispered. I need the audio. Outside, Officer Harlan twisted Nathaniel's arm back. The cuffs in Rusk's hand clicked once. Nathaniel said, Officer, I will comply. I ask only that the paper in my left coat pocket not be damaged. Harlan paused. The what? A memorial program. That your script? It is for my wife. The word reached the glass and seemed to stop there. Rusk said, Travis, maybe we let him call his daughter before transport. Harlan shot her a look. You want to run the scene now? No, I want to keep this clean. It is clean. He leaned toward Nathaniel's ear. Keep correcting me, and I'll make sure you see prison before sunrise. Evan's breath caught. The red dot kept blinking. Grace whispered, Tell me that recorded. He checked the screen. Harlan's back filled most of the frame, but the words had landed clear. Yes. Nathaniel did not turn. Rain gathered on his sleeves. Officer Rusk, please note that statement. Rusk's jaw moved once. Travis. Cuff him. He's not resisting. He's calm because he thinks calm fools people. Nathaniel placed his wrists behind him. The first cuff closed with a dry snap. The second followed. His shoulders rose once, then settled. Evan shifted. His shoe squeaked on tile. Harlan's head turned toward the glass. Someone recording? He called. Grace opened the door before Evan could hide the phone. Cold rain touched her apron. My machine's leaking, she said. Harlan stared at her. Stay inside. The door shut. Evan lowered the phone, but kept it running. Nathaniel looked through the glass, not at Evan's phone, but at Evan himself. The look held no plea. It only asked whether he would finish what he had started. Evan raised the phone again. Harlan searched Nathaniel's coat. The folded memorial program came out damp at one corner. Nathaniel's voice changed. Not louder. Smaller. Please do not bend that. Harlan glanced at the paper. Everybody's got paperwork. Rusk reached for it. I'll put it with his property. No special treatment. It's property. The patrol radio crackled. Harlan pressed his shoulder mic. One detained. Possible obstruction. Suspect giving false credentials. Nathaniel said, That is inaccurate. Harlan stepped closer. Say one more word. The rain quieted, making every sound sharper. The security light. The espresso machine ticking. Evan's pulse. Nathaniel looked down at the program. Then I will save the rest for the record. Harlan shoved the paper into a plastic sleeve without smoothing it. The white edge folded across Evelyn's printed name. Evan zoomed in. The image blurred, cleared, and caught the red recording dot reflected faintly in the glass. Harlan opened the patrol car door. "Watch your head." Nathaniel bent carefully. Grace pressed both hands to the counter. "Send it to someone." Evan swallowed. "Who?" She looked back at the program folded wrong and the officer pocketing the ID. "Someone who won't pretend they didn't see it." The patrol car door stayed open while rain collected along its rubber seal. Nathaniel bent to enter, then stopped. The folded memorial program slipped from the plastic sleeve and fell between Harlan's boot and the curb. The white paper opened just enough for Evelyn's name to show under a smear of water. "My wife's program," Nathaniel said. Harlan looked down. "Get in." "I cannot pick it up with my hands cuffed." Behind the glass, Grace covered her mouth. Evan's phone stayed low at his thigh, the red dot steady. Howard Finch stood under the awning, keys clenched in both hands. "I'll get it," Officer Rusk said. Harlan blocked her. "He'll get his property at booking." "It's in a puddle." "It's paper." Rain tapped the cruiser roof. Nathaniel kept his eyes on the program. The cuffs pulled his wrists high enough that the chain pressed through his coat. "Officer, please lift it." Harlan smiled toward the witnesses. "Listen to that. Even in cuffs, he's giving orders." That was not an order. "Then stop talking." Headlights swept the cafe windows, and every watcher stepped back at once. Nathaniel could not tell whether they were looking at him or through him. Rusk bent and picked up the program by its dry edge. The lower corner sagged with dirty water. Nathaniel's shoulders loosened. "Thank you." She placed it on the hood, smoothing it with 2 fingers. Evelyn's printed smile trembled beneath the rain. Harlan grabbed Nathaniel's elbow. "Enough ceremony." Nathaniel stepped into the back seat. The vinyl was cold through his trousers. The cuffs pushed his wrists against the divider. He turned his head to keep the program in sight. Grace opened the cafe door. "Officer, he asked you to verify his ID." Harlan looked back. "You know what a valid federal credential looks like?" "No, but I know when someone isn't being allowed to finish a sentence." Evan moved beside her, phone hidden against his leg. "Back inside," Harlan said. Nathaniel spoke through the open gap. "Ma'am, do not put yourself at risk." Grace looked at him, and the words folded back. Harlan slammed the door. The sound bounced off the garage wall. Rusk picked the program off the hood and reached for the property bag. Harlan snatched the sleeve from her. "I said no special handling." "It's property taken during detention," she said. "Don't lose it." Their eyes locked. Rusk blinked first, but she did not move back. Inside the cruiser, Nathaniel shifted his cuffed hands to ease the pressure. The metal scraped skin. His phone lay out of reach. Harlan got behind the wheel. "Dispatch, transporting one." Rusk slid into the passenger seat, the wet program sealed in the bag on her lap. Nathaniel saw it. "Officer Rusk." She turned slightly. "Please make sure my daughter receives a call." Harlan started the engine. "You can tell her after processing. My daughter is not part of this. She is now, if she keeps calling." Rusk's hand tightened around the bag. "What number?" "Lena," Harlan warned. Nathaniel recited it slowly. Rusk did not write it down, but her lips moved once. The cruiser pulled away. Through the rain-streaked window, Nathaniel saw Grace's hand on the glass, Evan's phone rising, and his federal ID face down on the asphalt. The holding cell door shut at 7:31 p.m. with a hollow sound that stayed in the room. Nathaniel sat on the narrow bench. Cold metal came through his damp trousers. A fluorescent tube buzzed above him, flattening the gray wall. There was no clock, only a pale square and 2 screw holes where one had been. Outside the bars, Officer Harlan filled a form. Name unknown. Refused to cooperate. Nathaniel looked at Sergeant Keene. That is not accurate. Keene rubbed his eyelids. The desk smelled of coffee and wet wool. You'll have a chance after processing. I gave my name, identification, and asked for 1 call. Harlan dropped the property bag on the counter. The folded program lay bent beside the silver pen. He also gave a lecture. Officer Rusk stood near the door. His ID is still at the scene. Keene looked up. You transported him without it? It looked questionable, Harlan said. Nathaniel rested his hands on his knees. The cuffs were gone, but red grooves circled his wrists. Sergeant, you can still verify my name. Harlan stepped closer. Hear that? Still threatening? No, Nathaniel said. Still asking. At the radio desk, Carla Nguyen turned. She was 38, small, with square glasses and a pencil tucked into her bun. Sarge, date of birth? Not yet. May 3rd, 1967, Nathaniel said. Harlan snapped. Don't enter that. Carla's fingers stopped above the keys. From the property tray, Nathaniel's phone began to vibrate, rattling against metal. Maya Brooks. Nathaniel stood. That is my daughter. Keene pointed at the bench. Sit down. She is waiting for me at a memorial. Sit. Nathaniel sat. The phone went dark, then lit again. Harlan turned the tray, face down. Nathaniel looked at the blank spot on the wall. What time is it? Keene checked his watch, then covered it. Your call comes after processing. My daughter deserves to know I did not choose silence. Harlan laughed. Maybe silence would help you. Rusk's voice tightened. Travis, enough. He turned on her. You taking notes for him now? No. I'm asking why we're not running the name. Keene set down his cup. We process first, then verify. Carla said, the search takes 30 seconds. And I said after processing. Nathaniel leaned back. The wall touched his coat with a cold, damp press. Down the hall, a printer ground out pages. The silver pen pressed against the plastic bag. The phone vibrated a 3rd time. Carla crossed to the tray. She's called 9 times. Harlan reached for it. Leave property alone. If this is a family notification issue, it's a suspect management issue. Nathaniel rose again. Dispatcher Nguyen. Carla looked at him. If permitted, tell her I am alive and at Cedar Ridge Station. Nothing more is required. Keene's face closed. Do not direct my staff. Nathaniel sat back down. Then direct them correctly. The room went still, except for the fluorescent buzz. Harlan took 1 step toward the cell, but Rusk shifted half a step between him and the bars. Carla looked from the property bag to the empty screw holes on the wall, as if they could tell her how long waiting became a violation. The phone lit again, and this time Carla wrote Maya's name down. Carla wrote Maya Brooks on a yellow sticky note and slid it beneath her keyboard. At 7:46 p.m., the station smelled of coffee, uniforms, and toner. Nathaniel sat behind the bars, cuff marks dark around his wrists. He had stopped asking for the time. Carla opened a second screen. Sergeant, I need a date of birth for the intake log. Keene did not look up. Harlan's finishing the narrative. I'm asking for the log. Harlan's pen stopped. You helping him? I'm keeping the file clean. Nathaniel lifted his eyes. May 3rd, 1967. Carla typed it. A small wheel turned beside his name. Harlan crossed the room. "Close that." "It's preliminary." I said close it. Carla's finger hung above the trackpad. In the tray, the memorial program sat sealed crookedly in plastic, its damp corner pressed over Evelyn's last name. The silver pen lay beside it, scratched clip catching the light. The screen refreshed. Brooks, Nathaniel E. Carla, leaned closer. "Sarge." Keene came around the desk. "What?" "There's a federal notation." Harlan looked first. "Lots of people have flags." Carla read the line again. "This isn't a warrant flag." Nathaniel stood. "Please call the number on my credential." Harlan turned toward the cell. "You don't direct my staff." Rusk, by the hallway, said, "The credential is at the garage." Keene's mouth tightened. "You left it there?" Harlan pointed at Nathaniel. "It was questionable." The phone in the tray buzzed again. Maya Brooks lit the screen. Carla glanced at the sticky note and thought of her own son's message. "His daughter has called 12 times, she said. "No outside calls until we know what we have," Keene said. "We may know." Harlan gave a hard laugh. "A name in a box and everybody's scared?" Nathaniel stepped to the bars. "I am not asking for belief. I am asking for verification." Carla reached for the internal directory. Harlan moved between her and the monitor. "Touch that phone and you're outside your lane." The station door opened before she answered. Wet air swept through the lobby. A tall black man in a dark jacket stepped to the counter. "Deputy Marshal Aaron Bell," he said, holding up credentials. Rain shone on his shaved head. "I'm looking for Judge Nathaniel Brooks." No one spoke. Nathaniel closed his eyes for one breath. Bell's voice lowered. "Is he here?" Keene straightened. "We have a detainee by that name. We were processing." "You were processing a sitting federal judge without confirming his identity?" Harlan said. "He was behind restricted property." Bell turned to him. "Where is his credential?" Rusk said, "At the municipal garage." Bell looked at Nathaniel's wrists. "Judge Brooks, do you need medical attention?" "No," Nathaniel said. "I need my daughter told I am alive, and I need that program preserved." Carla picked up the property bag. Plastic crackled across the room. Bell saw the folded paper. "His wife's memorial began at 7. Nathaniel looked at the empty square on the wall where a clock had once been. "Yes?" Keene's face went pale. Harlan shifted as if the floor had tilted. Carla lifted the receiver and pulled the sticky note free. Her finger trembled over the final digit when Maya's name lit the tray again. Carla pressed the last digit before anyone told her not to. The line rang once. "Dad?" The word came sharp through the receiver. Nathaniel's hand closed around one bar of the cell door. Carla swallowed. "Ms. Brooks, this is Cedar Ridge Police Department. Your father is here." "Is he hurt? Put him on." Deputy Marshal Bell stepped beside the desk, rain dripping from his jacket. "Ms. Brooks, this is Deputy Marshal Aaron Bell. I'm at the station with him now." Maya's breathing filled the receiver. "He missed the first speaker. His chair is empty." Bell looked at Keene. "Open the cell." Keene did not move. "We need to confirm. You have his name, birth date, property, and a federal notation on your screen." Harlan leaned over the counter. "Anybody can say they're a marshal." Bell turned his credential toward him. "Read it, all the way through." The fluorescent tube buzzed. Harlan's gaze flicked over the seal, then away. Carla carried the phone to the cell. The cord stretched across the walkway. Nathaniel took the receiver. "Maya." "Dad, where are you?" "At Cedar Ridge Station." "Why?" He looked at Harlan, then at the program in plastic. There was a misunderstanding. No, don't do that. Not with me. I am safe enough for this moment. In the background, a microphone squealed, and someone called for the next speaker. I saved your seat, she said. I know. Mom's ribbon fell twice. I fixed it. Nathaniel pressed his forehead to the cool bar. Thank you. Bell waited until the phone returned to Carla's hand. Then he faced Keene. Now, verify him. Keene sat at the computer. His password failed the first time because his finger struck 2 keys at once. Harlan stood behind him, jaw tight. Rusk moved to the tray and lifted the silver pen. This should not be loose. Leave it, Harlan said. She placed it beside the bag anyway. Carla opened the federal directory. A blue verification window appeared. Keene typed Nathaniel's name. The screen returned one profile. United States District Court, Judge Nathaniel E. Brooks. The words reflected in Keene's glasses. Harlan stared. That doesn't explain why he was behind the garage. Bell answered. His vehicle stalled beside a public building. Your report will explain why you left his credential in a puddle. Rusk looked down. Keene clicked another tab. A calendar notice loaded. Evelyn Brooks Memorial Legal Aid Fund, 7 p.m., Community Hall. Carla's pencil rolled off the desk and hit the floor. Harlan's face lost color in patches. He didn't say judge. Nathaniel spoke from the cell. You did not finish reading. The front door opened again. Chief Marjorie Ellis entered without a coat. She was 56, with silver hair pinned low and glasses gripped in one hand. Who arrested him? She asked. No one answered. Bell pointed to the monitor. Chief, your officers have a federal judge in a holding cell. His credential is still at the scene. His daughter learned he was alive from your dispatcher, not from your process. Ellis looked at Nathaniel, then at the red marks on his wrists, then at Harlan. Open that door, she said. Keene reached for the keys, but his hand stopped above them when the printer began spitting out Harlan's report. The printer kept grinding after Chief Ellis said, Open that door. Keene's keys clicked together. He chose the wrong one first, then the second. The lock turned with a scrape that made everyone hear how late it was. Nathaniel stepped out. His gray coat was damp at the shoulders. Red circles marked wrists under fluorescent light. Judge Brooks, Keene said, voice thin. We need to clear up paperwork. Nathaniel looked at Harlan's report curling from the printer. Begin by preserving it. Harlan reached for the pages. Bell caught his wrist. Leave the original in the tray. Chief Ellis turned to Carla. Time-stamp every document. Secure lobby footage, logs, body cameras, and property records. Carla's chair squealed. Yes, Chief. Harlan swallowed. He refused basic instructions. Nathaniel faced him. I refused nothing lawful. Rain ticked against the windows. A vending machine hummed down the hall. Ellis pointed to the counter. Return his belongings. Rusk lifted the plastic bag. The folded memorial program sat inside, creased across Evelyn's name. She opened the sleeve and set the paper down. I'm sorry, she said. Nathaniel smoothed the program once. My daughter chose that photograph. Rusk lowered her eyes. Keene found the silver pen beneath a receipt. He held it out, clip first. The barrel had a fresh scratch near the tip, bright against dull metal. Nathaniel's thumb rested on the damaged place. This belonged to my wife. Keene's mouth opened, then shut. I didn't know. No, Nathaniel said. You did not check. Bell's phone buzzed. Maya Brooks is outside. Let her in. The lobby door opened. Maya entered in her navy dress from the memorial. One white thread clung to her sleeve. Her eyes found her father's wrists before his face. Dad, I'm here. She crossed the room fast, then stopped, afraid an embrace would hurt him. Nathaniel lifted his arms. She held him around the shoulders, careful and fierce. You missed her song, Maya whispered. I know. They waited. I told them your car broke down. That was true. Not enough of it. He placed the program in her hand. The wet corner bent over her mother's smile. Maya looked at Harlan. She said nothing. Harlan shifted. Ma'am, this situation was… Don't, Ellis said. Bell opened a notebook. Judge Brooks, were you advised of the reason for detention? No. Were you offered a call before Deputy Nguyen contacted your daughter? No. Was your credential verified before transport? No. Keene rubbed his neck. We were going to. Nathaniel looked at the open cell. Intentions do not open locked doors. Carla returned with papers. Chief, the first call said a man needed help near the garage. It did not say break-in. Ellis took the log. Her face hardened. Rusk spoke softly. I said we should run the ID. Harlan snapped, after he kept arguing. Asking for verification, Nathaniel said, is not argument. The phone rang. Carla answered and covered the receiver. Chief, a courthouse clerk and a cafe owner are in the lobby. They say they witnessed the arrest. Ellis looked from Harlan to the fresh scratch on the pen in Nathaniel's hand. Bring them in, she said, and start recording every word from this moment. Grace Molina entered first, wiping rain from her cafe apron. Evan Price followed with his phone against his chest. He was 27, narrow-shouldered, with a courthouse badge clipped crookedly to his shirt. His eyes went to Nathaniel's wrists, then to the program in Maya's hand. Chief Ellis set 2 chairs beside the booking counter. Tell me what you saw. Grace looked at Harlan. I saw him ask for help. I saw his ID on the ground. Did you see him resist? No. Harlan cut in. She was inside. Grace turned to him. Glass doesn't make people blind. Carla started the recorder. A red light glowed. Evan lifted his phone. I have video. Keene's shoulders stiffened. Video of what? Enough. Deputy Marshal Bell connected the phone to the station monitor. The screen flickered blue, then filled with the wet garage entrance. Harlan's back blocked part of the frame, but his voice came through clearly. Keep correcting me, and I'll make sure you see prison before sunrise. No one moved. Bell paused the video. The image froze on Nathaniel in cuffs. Rusk half-turned. Grace behind glass. Evan's phone low at his side. Every witness seemed to be looking somewhere else. Chief Ellis stared at the frame. Play the next part. The video resumed. Nathaniel's voice came small but steady. Please do not bend that. Harlan on screen shoved the program into the sleeve. Rusk whispered, Stop! Ellis turned. Officer Rusk? Rusk's face had gone pale. He asked us to verify the ID before detention. I read enough to know it wasn't ordinary. Harlan swung toward her. You didn't say that. I did. Twice. You hesitated. I followed your lead, she said. That was my mistake. Keene rubbed one thumb over his wedding band. Chief, we had conflicting information. Carla lifted the call log. No. The call said a man needed help near the garage. Grace folded her arms. And I heard him say his daughter was waiting. Maya looked down. She was. Nathaniel touched her sleeve once, not to stop her, just to keep her from standing alone in the sentence. Ellis faced Harlan. Why was the credential left outside? I believed it was false. Based on what? He was in the wrong place. He was beside a stalled car. He kept correcting me. Nathaniel said, Correction is not a crime. The front door opened again. A broad man in a brown overcoat entered with a folder under one arm. Rooms seemed to quiet around him. "Captain Roland Meeks," he said. "Internal Affairs." Ellis nodded once. "You're early." "Deputy Marshal Bell's office called." Meeks looked at the monitor, then at Nathaniel. "Judge Brooks, I am sorry this room became necessary." Nathaniel answered, "Make it useful." Meeks set his folder on the counter. "All officers involved will provide statements tonight. Body cameras, dispatch logs, property records, and garage footage are to be secured before anyone leaves." Harlan's voice rose. "I did my job." Meeks looked at the frozen frame. "Then your job will explain itself." The monitor hummed. In the paused image, the memorial program lay at the edge of the puddle while every face turned away. Chief Ellis removed Harlan from active duty with a quiet sentence, and Captain Meeks opened an evidence folder. At 9:18 p.m., Meeks closed the blinds in the station conference room, and the glass became a dark mirror. Nathaniel sat with Maya beside him. The scratched silver pen rested near his folded hands. Across the table, Harlan sat rigid, his badge sealed in plastic. Keene held a paper cup he had not tasted. Denise Ward, chair of the City Review Board, entered with a gray folder. "This is preliminary," she said. "Not a trial. Every word is recorded." Harlan leaned forward. "Then record that I acted on instinct." Meeks switched on the recorder. "You'll have your turn." "My turn is now." He was behind a restricted building. He had a strange credential. He kept challenging instructions. Nathaniel looked at the pen. He did not lift it. Denise opened the folder. "The dispatch note says a man asked for a phone after his vehicle stalled. It does not mention forced entry." That was after the fact. Carla's voice came through the speakerphone. "No, sir, that was the first call." The room smelled of paper, coffee, and wet carpet. Keene cleared his throat. "We were managing uncertainty." Deputy Marshal Bell stood by the wall. "Uncertainty is why verification exists." Rusk sat 2 chairs from Harlan. "I should have called it in." Harlan turned. "You're rewriting yourself." "No," she said. "I'm finally saying it in order." Meeks slid photographs across the table. The ID on wet asphalt, the camera still, the bent program, the intake sheet marked unknown. Denise tapped the last page. "Why did your report say he refused to identify himself?" "He gave a name I had no reason to trust." "He also gave a birth date." "After he was coached." "By whom?" Harlan's mouth tightened. The recorder clicked. Nathaniel spoke for the first time. "No one coached me to know my own birthday." Maya looked at his wrists. Denise turned a page. "Why was no timely phone call allowed?" Keene answered. "I made that decision." "Based on policy?" "Based on station flow." Bell's jaw set. "A person is not paperwork in a queue." No one replied. Harlan pushed back his chair. "Everyone is acting like I knew who he was." Nathaniel raised his eyes. "That is not the point." Denise folded her hands. "Judge Brooks, do you wish to make a statement?" He touched the silver pen, then left it where it was. "A badge should not need to recognize a title before it recognizes a person. Tonight happened because verification was treated as optional, a phone call as a favor, and quiet compliance as permission to continue." The room grew still. "I am asking this city to examine a procedure that allowed a man with identification, witnesses, and no resistance to disappear behind a locked door while his family waited." Maya pressed the folded memorial program flat. Meeks closed the evidence folder. The dry click crossed the table like a period. Denise removed her glasses. Officer Harlan remains suspended pending formal review. Sergeant Keene is placed on administrative leave. This matter goes to the City Commission and the County Prosecutor. Harlan stared at the folder. "You're ending my career over one night?" Nathaniel stood. "No, officer. You're being asked to answer for every decision inside it." Outside, reporters gathered beyond the lobby glass. By Monday morning, the old waiting bench had been pulled from the lobby wall. A maintenance man scraped tape from the paint while Chief Ellis held a rolled poster. Rain had cleared from Cedar Ridge. Bright light crossed the glass doors, the counter, and the place where Nathaniel had watched his daughter's calls go unanswered. Ellis unrolled the poster. "Rights during detention. Verify identification. Document property. Timely phone access." Carla read it from behind the desk. It looks simple. Nathaniel looked at the empty screw holes where the clock had once been. Simple things are often ignored first. Denise Ward set a folder on the counter. "Emergency rules passed at 8 a.m. Permanent vote next month." "Emergency rules can vanish," Maya said. "That is why oversight language goes in before the vote." Officer Rusk entered in plain clothes, cap held in both hands. "Judge Brooks, I'm not here for forgiveness." "I did not ask why you came." "I came because I stayed quiet too long." She placed a statement on the counter. "Training won't matter if officers think silence is survival." Grace stood near the door with coffee. Evan waited behind her, phone away for once. Maya unfolded a document. At the top was Evelyn Brooks' Legal Access Fund. Her mother's name looked strange in bold letters, official and alive. "We start with evening clinics," Maya said. "People who work 2 jobs can't come at noon." Carla said, "The lobby could host an intake table." Ellis turned. "You're volunteering my lobby?" "I'm volunteering the corner people already sit in when they don't know who to ask." Nathaniel studied the bench. Its vinyl was cracked, one leg shorter than the others. "Then put the poster above it." The maintenance man lifted the frame. The first nail tapped softly, then harder. Everyone heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Deputy Marshal Bell arrived as the poster straightened. County prosecutor accepted the file. Internal Affairs sealed the footage. Maya exhaled. "So it doesn't disappear?" "No," Bell said. "Not this time." Nathaniel stepped closer. The words were plain black on white, no ceremony in them. He touched the silver pen in his pocket and thought of Evelyn signing forms anywhere a scared person could sit. Ellis came beside him. "I owe you a public apology. You owe the city a public process. We'll give both. You will give the process first." She accepted that with a small nod. Evan approached, cheeks red. "Judge Brooks, I almost didn't record." Nathaniel turned to him. "But you did." "Late. Late can still matter if it changes what happens next." Grace looked at the poster, then at the bench. "People will read it?" Carla taped a copy beside the phone. "I'll make sure they have to." Maya placed the legal aid folder on the bench where detainees had waited. "Mom would hate the font." Nathaniel looked at the crooked line of the poster and the white morning light moving over it. "She would correct it with a pen." Maya took the white ribbon from her bag and tied it around one side of the frame. No one clapped. No one needed to. The lobby door opened, and the first woman stepped inside clutching a folder, her eyes moving from the poster to Nathaniel, as if asking whether the words were real. 3 months later, the hall smelled of coffee, floor polish, and the spring rain that had once followed Nathaniel Brooks into the station. The empty chair stood in the front row again. Maya had tied the white ribbon around it, but this time it did not look like a warning to breathe. It moved softly in the open window, brushing a program printed with Evelyn's name. Nathaniel stood behind the lectern. The silver pen lay beside his notes, its new scratch turned upward. Maya whispered, You don't have to make it long." He looked at the chair. "I missed one speech. I owe her this one." Grace Molina sat with her apron folded in her lap. Evan Price sat beside her, no phone in his hand. Carla Nguyen stood near the back wall with her son, who pointed at the poster by the entrance. "Verify. Document. Call." Nathaniel began without raising his voice. Evelyn believed the first question in any room should be, "Who has not been heard yet?" I learned that question late. She learned it early. Maya pressed the program against her knees. After the ceremony, people came one by one. An older mechanic said his complaint had been reviewed. A young mother said the evening legal clinic helped her understand a notice she had feared opening. Carla handed Nathaniel the first monthly detention audit. No logged phone call had been missed since the rule began. "It's only 3 months," she said. "It is 3 months more than we had," Nathaniel answered. At the City Commission meeting, Chief Ellis presented the public report. Harlan had been terminated and referred for possible charges connected to false reporting and unlawful detention. Keene had resigned before discipline was final. His certification was under review, and he was barred from supervisory work during the state inquiry. Rusk remained on probation after retraining, assigned to policy instruction with outside oversight. "She asked to speak at the academy," Ellis said. Nathaniel touched the scratched pen in his pocket. "Let her tell the whole truth." Grace passed them, carrying coffee. "Still too bitter," she said. "Evelyn would approve," Nathaniel said. Evan now trained courthouse staff on preserving video. Howard Finch had written a note for new guards that began, "I waited too long." Read the whole ID. By summer, the lobby at Cedar Ridge Station had changed in small ways that mattered. A working clock hung where 2 screw holes had been. The rights poster was bolted behind glass. The old waiting bench had been repaired because Maya said some things should remain visible after they were fixed. One afternoon, Nathaniel watched a man at the counter ask for a call. Carla answered. "Of course. The phone is right here." The man looked surprised enough to cry, but did not. Nathaniel turned away. That evening, he and Maya returned to the hall to collect the last boxes from Evelyn's fund launch. The white ribbon was still on the empty chair, loosened by wind. Maya reached for it, but Nathaniel stopped her. "Leave it," he said. She studied him. "For Mom?" "For anyone who comes late and still needs a seat." Maya nodded, then placed the silver pen on the chair before handing it back. "She would say you finally learned to keep speeches short." Nathaniel smiled. "Not all lessons are painful." Outside, the rain had ended. Through the open window, the white ribbon moved once and became still. If this story reminded you of a moment when someone's dignity was ignored, share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you witnessed something. Maybe you stayed quiet. Or maybe you were the person waiting for one fair chance to be heard. Share this story with someone who believes justice should not depend on status, title, or how loudly a person can defend themselves. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and the kind of systemic change that begins when one person refuses to look away. Your voice in the comments helps keep these stories alive for people who need courage today.